Hello, sports bettors, and welcome to the Daily Line. I'm your host, Jarvis, and with me is handicapper Greg Dempson. It's conference final weekend in the NFL. We've got 4 teams that have earned their way here. One of them doesn't quite look like they belong. The New York Jets. They did it in Cincinnati, they did it in San Diego, and now a line that opened at 7 and was quickly bought to 7.5. Jets are in Indianapolis this weekend. It's a rematch from Week 16, Greg. What do you think?
Well, more action on the total on the side. The line moved a half a point in favoring Indy from 7 to 7.5.
Buying into the Jets' defense.
Yeah, exactly. And the over-under 41, and quicker than you could say, oops, it's down to 40.5, then 40, and it moved from 40 down to 39. I did see a couple of 39.5s, Jarvis. Last 2 times they met around in Week 16, 5 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game. Indy pulls the starters. I think Manning was a little ticked. Deep down inside, I believe he wanted to.
He handled it like a true professional.
He did handle it, but what was the score? 15-10. So you starter against starter. That's a pretty tight score. And of course, we know what happened. As it turned out, I think Indy would rather have faced the Jets than Houston, because if you'll recall, if they had beat the Jets, I think they would have got Houston, which would have been a tougher matchup. Who would you rather be quarterbacking against?
We've got this team. Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. We've got a rookie coming in. They've been doing it on their defense with the Jets. They've got a good running game. But we're going against the Indianapolis Colts at home. Jets have now been out on the road, 6 of the last 8 weeks?
Yeah, they're definitely road warriors.
How do you go into Indianapolis and possibly win this game? Are you leaning on the home team favorite?
Well, what I like, Jarvis, is the halftime score in the last game was 9-3.
Okay.
I look for a little more offense from Indy this time around, a better game plan. I think the best play here is I do like the home team -7, having to buy a hook. But I like the first half. I like the host -5 points. That's where I've made that wager already.
You can see Indianapolis coming out of this game realizing the New York Jets have done it. It's not been exactly through smoke and mirrors. They've got Darrelle Revis on the corner. They've got good backups. Indianapolis' passing game, though, goes a lot deeper than just Clark and Wayne. It goes 4 deep. They've also got a running game that hasn't come on track at all. But you can expect Peyton Manning to at least test the Jets defense. He's not going to let them with dink and dunk routes. He's going to stretch the field a little bit. This is Manning's
I agree.
house.
It's Manning's house, and I'm sure the coaching staff watched what San Diego did. They were up 7-0, and they're running the ball last week with nowhere. They should have put the pedal to the metal. If they were up 14-0, they would have forced the Jets into something that they wouldn't like to do. And
it was surprising, yeah. The running
they
game,
played right into the Jets' hand last week, and I don't think you'll see that with the Colts. I look for the Colts to open this game up, try and get out to a lead, and make that rookie quarterback in a dome on the road make some mistakes.
We've seen a lot of running backs bust open big runs so far in the playoffs here. But Thomas Jones, how is Indy going to game plan for him? I don't think their run defense is quite as bad as people think. We talked about it last week. They finished the season ranked 24th, but if you looked at their rankings throughout the season, they were constantly ranked around the 15 or 16 mark.
Yeah.
Their run defense is not as bad as people think.
Well, the other thing, too, is if you get a lead of 14 points and you take the Jets out of that run first, you force their hand, and I really do believe that's what the Colts will try to do here.
Force Sanchez to win it on their arm. So the line is 7.5 right now. We could see 8 by game time. I recommend the Colts -7. Greg likes the Colts in the first half, laying 5 points. Let's go over to the NFC. We've got another matchup that is almost perfect for what the NFL was hoping for. Brett Favre going into New Orleans against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, this is the game that on paper, I think it'll be more entertaining. I like the host here at -3. I did see mostly 3.5s. There was the odd place -3, -1.25. Obviously, if you're going to play the home team, you don't want to lay 3.5. Statistically, 1 against 2. And New Orleans at home, Minnesota on the road, dome, noisy, tough place to play. Although you've got a very experienced quarterback there with Brett Favre. Minnesota did not play as well on the road as they did at home. Strong lean Jarvis to the host team here, but at this stage of the season, I think there's actually better value in other sports than football.
Both of these teams are one step away from their goal this season.
That's
making the Super Bowl, winning it, obviously. But you looked at the Saints last season. In 2008, their weakness was the secondary. The passing game they weren't getting pressure with the front 7, and they weren't able to stop teams. But they only gave up 1 game last season of 300-plus rushing yards. In 2009, they gave up 300-plus passing yards 4 separate times. You look at it, though, in week 2 against Kevin Cobb from Philadelphia, And then in week 13, 14, 15, 3 games in a row against quarterbacks you wouldn't expect.
Yeah,
like Jason
well, you see,
Campbell
the thing
and Chris
with
Redmond.
New Orleans when they're in Philly, McNabb was hurt, and they were so far ahead. You know, they kind of, those numbers are skewed a bit there because they allowed them to, you know, they played to prevent defense
Brett Favre,
there.
though, had 6 300-plus passing games this year. We know Brett Favre's going to air it out in this game. I looked at the New Orleans secondary. It looks healthy.
They are a lot healthier now,
Darren Sharp is going to come in. He's key. He's 34 years old. He's still picking up interceptions. He led the NFL this year in interception return yardage. It comes down to also the front four in New Orleans. We've got a healthy inside line. It looks like they're going to be able to get a bit of a pass rush on Favre. We saw what the Minnesota rush did to Tony Romo last week and pressured them. They're going to have to pressure Favre because he's not going to be as quick as Breeze back there.
Well, if you put pressure on him or you force him, and he's been very good this year at staying within himself and not the Brett Favre that we saw the last couple of years in Green Bay, where he would try to put the game on his shoulders and make mistakes and turnovers and that. You got to watch out for Adrian Peterson here. He didn't fumble last week.
That's the next thing I was going to say.
Look for a fumble here. I wouldn't be surprised if he turned the ball over. Turnovers, as in any game, will be a key. I think turnovers in this game, the noise, the home field. I think home field advantage is definitely worth 3 points.
So if you had to make a bet right now on the side,
if I had to play, I would take the home team -3.
I lean on the home side as well. So in the first game, we're looking at the Indianapolis Colts in the first half laying 5.
Correct.
The Indianapolis Colts laying 7 on the game by the hook. In the second game, Greg and I are both leaning on the New Orleans Saints laying 3 points. If you got to lay 3.5, buy the hook down to 3 as you always would. This is the Daily Line. Go over to BetRepublic.com if you want to check out the NFL Blitz, focusing on more of the games, in-depth coverage, systems, analysis from Greg Dempson and Sonny Palermo. You can pop by BetRepublic.com for football information at all times, too. This has been the Daily Line. Thank you very much.